Hi, I'm Alex Altman. I attended the Wind Ensemble this past Tuesday. It was honestly a lot more extravagant. I don't know if that's the word than I expected. I don't know. Attending the trumpet ensemble and it being a few performers, only trumpets, I don't know if I was expecting something similar, but there were a lot of performers and a lot of different families there. I noticed instruments from the brass family, the percussion family, I could say, percussion instruments, woodwind, just everything that we went through. Something I noticed at the beginning of the concert was that to warm up, every instrument was playing at the same time. Each performer, they were kind of going through different things, I guess, to practice and to tune their instruments and just to prepare. Another thing I noticed was that before every piece that was performed and presented, they would do, I guess it was almost like a key check for everyone. They would at first start with the lowest instrument, and I'm pretty sure it was the tuba, would start playing out, and then it would go all the way up to, it seemed like the instrument leading the higher register, the other instruments, or maybe it was just leading the woodwind instruments, was the clarinet. There was, I guess it was, the head clarinet. I've heard the term chair one before. I don't know if it was the highest chair, but he would stand up and then he would join in, and then they would go from the highest register to the lowest and just kind of mesh. There were four different conductors throughout this whole night. The first three each did one piece themselves, and then the last conductor, I think he did 2 or 3 pieces. I'm gonna say 2. They were on the longer side, so that's why I'm guessing 3. Maybe it was 2 pieces. So there were 5 and 2, maybe 6. So the first piece that was performed began with just percussion instruments and the trumpet playing together. There were staccato melodies by the percussion played over a legato melody by the trumpet. And then the clarinet and the flute joined in, the clarinet joined with the legato, and then the flute joined with the staccato side. When the percussion played just any time, I would definitely say it was on mezzo forte, forte side. At the end of each movement, there was loud percussion, I guess, ending. It's similar to like the end at the end of songs that we've looked at in class, but there was just a loud percussion action, I guess. And that's how you knew. Then there was like a small break. They would start over. Now, they would actually play the same melody, it seemed, over and over with a few like minor changes between each. So in the first, they might have these few instruments playing it, percussion, loud sound, small break. Next, someone else joins in, maybe the key changes just a little bit. It felt like a lot of call and response, and in that call and response, they're kind of imitating each other. What I kind of took away is that the staccato sounding instruments, the staccato playing instruments, sounded a bit like marching. This is how I would like explain how I felt listening to this piece, but it was a bit like marching to a beat, setting the tone, and then over that, all the legato playing was a different melody. So I would say this homophonic. Neither of them was kind of fighting for the limelight, but all the other legato playing instruments seemed to be, it just made me think of royalty. Anytime I've seen anything across the pond, Great Britain, music I hear is similar to this, with the legato over like the just very nationalistic, honestly, with still that like romanticizing royalty is what it felt like. So the second song was a bit out there. It reminded me a lot of a song that we listened to in the practice final. It was Schoenberg's Piero Lunaire. And I actually went back and looked it up after, because it struck something in me, which I guess was Schoenberg's like plan all along, is that even though it sounded so not off but dissonant, it like just brought up like a curiosity in me. So I went and looked it up, and Piero Lunaire has always stood out to me just because that style is another thing where it's like you have an odd curiosity with it that you can't really control. So that's how I felt listening to it, and it was the Monderstrunken I guess movement, I think is what it was called. And this song was just similar in the sense there were there were no lyrics, but there was an instrument, a person making owl noises at the beginning. I don't know if it's owl noises, but just kind of like hooting loudly. It started on the lower register with the string bass. The string bass was playing most of what was going on, and then percussion joined with some triangle noises, just some extra like sounds, background sounds, and then you had the hooting overhead. There was much crescendo into dissonance in the song, and that's the main takeaway I took. The main takeaway was that this, similar to the Schoenberg piece, dissonance was key, and that kind of drew you in and gave you that weird feeling. And then skipping to the last song. The last song was on the grave side. It was on the slower side, and it also fell in the minor key. Once again, there was a question in class about how to tell which key it's in, and this was one of those where it just felt a bit more somber, and it didn't like click in my head. Usually when I hear songs in the major key, it kind of clicks and I just can tell it's in a major key, but this one just felt more on the minor side because it just, I don't know, it had that feeling. This one once again had percussion in it. They made the percussion sound a bit like thunder in my head, and there's also an English horn solo at some point. I was sitting nearest to them, so I noticed they were playing the most. And then once everyone joined in all at once, it turned into a presto forte, like we're moving quick and we're making loud noises, and it felt just kind of like, I would say lightning, but it was withheld, so almost like just like a burst of light, just a burst of nationalism, a burst of confidence. And then we're gonna kind of go back retardando, so when everyone joins in, it's like the accelerando, retardando back into the mezzo piano. Other than the percussion, I would say, mezzo piano triangle was playing on the grave side, and then right when everyone joins in, we have an accelerando back to what I would say is presto forte. But yeah, I enjoyed this concert. I will definitely be going to more off the clock, but yeah, thanks.